So I cut it approximately there. So I did cut the right part, like 96% sure. On today's second episode of the Chambler build, I'm going to go ahead and pull the Cherokee wiring out of the engine bay and all the wiring for the stock Rambler components. I'm going to pull the cowl, wiper motor, grill, and some other miscellaneous parts along the way. Without further ado, let's get going. I'm going to go ahead and separate the factory Rambler wiring from the Cherokee wiring and pull the Cherokee wiring out. I think that's going to give me my best chance of seeing where everything actually is in the front. Then after that, I'm going to go ahead and likely pull the grill and at least some of the pieces to see how he mounted the front. And then I'll pull some of the floor pieces off because I'm going to have to address the firewall as well. And these things, but that'll kind of progress as we go. Some of this stuff might change depending on how the scope of work changes and what I find when I pull it. Let's get going. I just pulled all the wiring out of the two-door Cherokee that I had for this project. Go ahead and check the video. I'll put it somewhere up there. I'm only going to stop it when I get to something that's complicated or is specific to this vehicle. And then once we get to the vehicle's wiring itself, and also the interior is going to be entertaining. Next phase is getting the starter wiring off from the bottom. Then I'm going to have to pull all that junk that I tried to fix for the interior out. This starter setup is different than on my two-door for the wiring. I'm going to have to release that safety catch, and then I can pull the wiring. I should be able to get everything from the top on this one as opposed to the other style. There's our safety release and our connector and our main wire. This has an equally stupid way of retaining the wiring for the starter. I'm going to cut the clamp, and I should be able to pull all the starter wiring out. Now I'm going to have to pull the wiring out of the interior. I'm going to start disconnecting stuff for the fuse block and anything else I can grab under here and stuff it up through. Oh, he broke this up. That's great. Oh, I can't screw it up any more than it already is. There we go. I should now be able to pull the passenger side wiring up and out. I'll have to come over to this side and get the driver's side stuff apart as well. I'm going to have to get everything from the driver's side floor, and I should hopefully be able to get this darn thing out of here finally. I'm going to zip all the bulkhead connectors off, and I should be able to pull the wiring through here. Almost forgot the fuel tank wiring harness. All that should be left is this main connector. I should be able to pull that through the giant hole that he left. Darn it. He set the Rambler down on top of the Cherokee without any concern of how to get any of this stuff out. I'm going to cut back this harness covering so I can hopefully slide it around the valve cover and take this harness off. I'm going to have to make revisions when I put the new harness in, but I'll have to do that anyway because I'm going to have to make a whole new firewall patch in the upper part. record, this is not the proper way to remove a wiring harness. Watch the other video. And it's probably still not going to come all the way out easily. I'm going to regret not just taking that heater hose off, but I don't have a drain bucket at the moment. Can't see it, but there's a brake line trapped around it, and it's just gonna get cut. I've had it. I'm gonna have to redo the brake lines anyway, so screw it. Oh, that broke. Color me surprised. That would have been good. It's a ground strap that's just broken off. This little darn thing should be free, and there's one harness still connected. I'm missing something. I'm gonna have to investigate from the bottom. It's gonna probably be a little hard to tell, but what was pinching was the wiring underneath, which I forgot. But when he crushed the trans tunnel, he completely pinned the connector there, and he completely crushed the wiring for the speed sensor to the back of the transfer case on that nub. So I'm actually, unfortunately, going to have to cut the harness at the firewall. And then once I get this thing done, I'm going to have to rewire this and actually lift the floor off of the transfer case and the transmission. Well, like I said, when I had myself pinned underneath the car there, I'm going to have to cut this cable down here. And I will fix that and finish it once I get the car relatively squared up and I can get it up on jack stands and I can raise the floor. That is trans wiring controller. God, I hate doing this. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna do a little more investigating before I go too cut happy in here. This stuff is just all pinched in here so tightly I can't tell what is what, and I don't want to make a giant mistake that I'm going to regret. I'll go to the other wiring harness from the Cherokee and see if I can trace that back better. I just verified what I'm cutting on the harness for the two-door Cherokee, so it's snippy time. Still some extra space. There we go. So using the two-door Cherokee harness as a guide map, this would be the transmission controller parts. Comes out to this fork. So I cut it approximately there. And this is the other pieces and components. This is the connector that went down. I had the other piece. I was able to double check that. So I did cut the right part. Like 96% sure. That's all my wiring out of the engine bay. Next, I'm going to pull some of these cover pieces off the grill. I need to see how this thing is mounted or not mounted. Figure out what I can do, because this core support isn't going to support anything, core or otherwise. And then I need to figure out where I'm at with the dash and the firewall. I'm going to try to pull the remaining factory wiring back and off and see what I've actually got back here, because that's a major structural component right now. It's mostly just a on-fire wall. There's no protection. I'm gonna go ahead and take as many of the factory wiring connection hold downs out as I can, as well as likely remove the wiper motor so I can get to it and pull it out, because I'm gonna need access to all this. And it looks like we've got some rot in here as well. I'll probably also pull the cowl. Once I get this stuff done and vacuumed up, I'll be back on the grill. It'll be interesting to see if any of this comes off willingly. Oh. Not sure if this is folded over or what's going on here. There more than likely is a fastener on there, but it looks like the head is so rotted out I'm not going to be able to get it off. I might have to just cut that off as well, unfortunately. I am going to have to rebuild large chunks of this. I'm likely going to have to cut these supports off and reform and join Cherokee firewall to the Rambler firewall, because right now it's just not going to work. I mean, I can stick my entire hand in here. In case I haven't explained this before, this is the wiper motor. It's vacuum actuated. And my plan is to go ahead and try to use the Cherokee wiper motor because I'm going to have all the other controls. So I'll have to likely make some kind of special mount or use the mount that's here, because I don't want to try to use this system, and in all likelihood this is broken. Okay. I'm going to have to cut that fastener head off as well. Man, the head on this thing is just this side and not working. Rather than bust out the big guns, I'm just going to see if I can trim this cable clamp quickly, and I can. A lot of the wiring for this blower motor is just cut up or messed up. Okay. Looks like I've got some wiring going into the interior. These are likely both cable actuators for the wipers and for the heater control. Not sure yet, I'll find out more as we go. All that stuff goes into the firewall, so I believe I'm done with all the wiring for now. I'm going to go ahead and brush all this dirt loose and vacuum this area, and then I will pull the cowl panel. I'm going to take the series of bolts that are holding the cowl panel down off. Just a little screw. I already pulled the driver's wiper arm assembly off. I'm going to pull the passengers off as well. It's, I don't know, it's a weird system. Looks like it's fairly easy once you get used to it because there's kind of nothing holding it on. Just finding a pry point where I don't damage everything. It's kind of hard to show. It's easy enough to do. Just really don't want to break the windshield because I'm pretty sure I can't find another one. I believe I have to take these nuts off, and then I should be able to pull this trim panel and pull the cowl off. Pull the nut, pull this trim cover off, pull the cowl cover off, and we should have access to all the wiper components and all the underneath parts of the cowl area. It'll be interesting to see what rust is down there. My sockets won't fit over this drive end, that's why I'm using the box end wrench. Open the hood back up a bit and we should be able to work the cowl panel off. I'll go ahead and get all the loose dirt up and vacuum this area out. And there is a ton of rot in this cowl. In starting to clean the cowl area, I noticed that I knocked whatever clip retains the wiper arm transmission assembly off the wiper motor. There's some little clip that goes on here. You can really see just how destroyed this general area is. I'm gonna have a lot of fixing to do. The first thing I gotta do is clean it up and figure out just how bad it is. This is the wiper motor assembly. This is what you'd see in the engine bay. That's the vacuum line. This appears to be the cable actuator. This is the arm that works the wiper transmission, allows your wipers to move. I believe if I loosen this screw, I can pull this cable out. We'll see. I think I'm going to go ahead and back it almost all the way out. Oh, there we go. And it is. I believe that's our cable actuator on the dash control. I'm going to start by taking these upper covers off the grill. That should give me a good view of what's in here and hopefully give me a chance to get some of these other parts off. I'm also going to have to take this piece off to figure out what's going on with the radiator and likely pull the headlight covers and the grill assembly to figure out how the bumper's actually together in here. Yeah, this wasn't even tight. Nothing surprises me at this point with this car. Hey, one was actually tight. And when stuck in the grill, it'll come off when I pull the cover off. There's no fastener in this side. Let's take a look in here and see if we can see anything. There's a series of hidden nuts along this trim panel. I'm going to get that off, but I'm going to get the headlight covers and hopefully the grill off first. There are 3 screws on each of these headlight covers. I'm going to take them all off. That should give me access to see if there's any other fasteners holding this grill in. Oh, well, there's no fastener in the bottom hole. And that gives you access to the trim ring and the adjustment and everything else. I'm going to mark each one of these covers because they're kind of a pain if you don't get them back on in the right order. Fries are done. I hate dropping my Dale Earnhardt autographed snap-on ratcheting screwdriver. It's a shameless unpaid promotion. There should be bolts through the grill into this lower trim piece. They're not there. So basically the whole grill is just going to come off. Like so. Yeehaw. So it appears there's 1, 2, 3 bolts holding this upper cover on. I've already gotten the one on the driver's side off. This is definitely a weird design. It's basically the same bolts that hold on pretty much every other trim piece. Fries are done. At least it hit the ground. I don't know where it hit the ground, but it hit the ground. Oh, there we go. I don't even know anymore. I hope this wasn't his plan for holding this on. Okay, trim piece out. At least it looks like the upper core support structure is not hacked up. The radiator is going to have to come quite a bit forward like this. And likely what I'm going to have to do is modify one of these Cherokee core sports to actually work with this upper piece and locate the radiator. I think I can probably trim this out, use this as a mount, put something on here, and actually use this factory piece, or at least most of it, to properly locate this and hopefully give it a better chance of working. I have 2 of these, so if I royally screw one up, I've got extras. But that is for later. Cottonwoods. I can't get away from them. Program for right now is to go underneath, see how the bumper's actually mounted on, and see what else I can take apart without messing the structure up too much to figure out exactly where I'm at. I decided to end the video here. We're going to start in the very next video, right following along with the grill and all the other components. We're going to reinforce some of the front end, start taking more of the pieces out. This project is going to change some as we go along, so I want to do the best job humanly possible. I want it to be safe and fun. The next episode is going to be heavy in fab, and it's going to keep getting heavier and heavier in fabrication and modification through this series. Like, share, subscribe. Definitely let me know what you want to see. I'm always open to suggestions. Thanks so much for watching. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the future. See you next time.